What if I told you that some of the most famous swords in human history still exist today? Some are locked away in museums, others hidden in sacred shrines, and one completely vanished after World War II. Stay with me because what you're about to discover might surprise you. Let's dive in. Excalibur. We begin with perhaps the most legendary sword of all time. This mythical weapon belonged to King Arthur, the legendary British king who united the realm and established the Knights of the Round Table. The tales surrounding Excalibur vary depending on which version you read. In some stories, it's the sword young Arthur pulled from the stone, proving his right to rule. In others, it was a gift from the mysterious Lady of the Lake, a magical blade that could cut through anything. Here's the thing though, no physical sword has ever been definitively proven to be the real Excalibur. So where can you find it today? While there's no definitive answer, the sword of offering used in British coronations carries strong Arthurian symbolism and is displayed in the Jewel House at the Tower of London. It may not be the mythical blade itself, but it represents the enduring legacy of Arthur's legend. Joyeuse. Moving from Britain to France, we encounter Joyeuse, the coronation sword of Charlemagne. Charlemagne, or Charles the Great, was the king of the Franks who united much of Western Europe during the early Middle Ages. His sword, Joyeuse, which means joyful in French, became one of the most important ceremonial weapons in European history. What makes Joyeuse fascinating is that it's actually a composite sword, blending parts from different historical periods. Despite this, it served as the coronation sword for French kings for hundreds of years, linking each new monarch to Charlemagne's legendary empire. Today, you can see Joyeuse at the Louvre Museum in Paris, where it stands as a key artifact of medieval France. Zulfiqar. Now let's travel to the Islamic world and discuss Zulfiqar, one of the most symbolically important swords in Islamic history. This legendary bifurcated sword, meaning it had a split or forked blade, is said to have belonged to Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad. According to tradition, the Prophet himself gave this sword to Ali, and it became an enduring symbol of justice, courage, and divine strength. The image of Zulfiqar has been reproduced countless times throughout Islamic art and culture, appearing on flags, emblems, and monuments. Its distinctive double-pointed blade makes it instantly recognizable. However, the original Zulfiqar has not survived to the present day. Several swords believed to be associated with Ali are held in the Topkapi Palace Museum in Istanbul, Turkey, though their authenticity remains debated. Regardless, Zulfiqar's symbolic power continues to resonate throughout the Islamic world. Tizona and Collada. Our journey takes us to medieval Spain, where we find two famous swords belonging to one legendary warrior, El Cid. Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, known as El Cid, was a Castilian knight and military leader whose exploits during the Reconquista made him a Spanish national hero. According to legend and historical accounts, El Cid wielded two remarkable swords, Tizona and Collada. Tizona in particular is closely linked with El Cid's military campaigns. Medieval texts describe it as a sword of exceptional quality that struck fear into his enemies. So where are these legendary blades today? Tizona is currently on display at the Museum of Burgos in Spain, following a lengthy legal battle over its ownership. Metallurgical analysis suggests the blade dates from the appropriate historical period. Collada's fate is less certain, though various replicas exist. Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi. Let's head to Japan, where we encounter one of the most mysterious and sacred swords in existence. Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi, also known as the grass-cutting sword. This mythical blade is one of the three imperial regalia of Japan, objects that symbolize the legitimacy of the emperor. According to Shinto legend, the storm god Susanoo discovered the sword in the tail of an 8-headed dragon he had slain. The sword represents the virtue of valor and has been passed down through generations of Japanese emperors. Here's where it gets really interesting. Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi is believed to be housed at Atsuta Shrine in Nagoya, Japan, but it is never publicly displayed. In fact, access to the sword is restricted even to Shinto priests. No photographs exist, and no modern person can confirm having seen it. Its existence remains entirely symbolic and shrouded in mystery, making it perhaps the most secretive famous sword in the world.
If you're enjoying this deep dive into the world of famous swords, make sure to subscribe to Swords Explained and hit that notification bell. Wallace sword. Returning to the British Isles, we find the Wallace sword, attributed to William Wallace, the Scottish freedom fighter immortalized in the film Braveheart. Wallace led the Scottish resistance against English rule in the late 13th century, and his legacy as a symbol of Scottish independence remains powerful today. The Wallace sword is an enormous two-handed weapon, measuring approximately 5 feet 4 inches in length. Its impressive size has led some historians to question whether Wallace actually used it in battle. The blade itself appears to date from the late 13th century, the correct period for Wallace's lifetime. Today, you can see the Wallace sword on display at the National Wallace Monument in Stirling, Scotland, overlooking the site of Wallace's famous victory at the Battle of Stirling Bridge. Honjo Masamune. Now we come to one of history's greatest mysteries, the Honjo Masamune. Forged by Goro-Nudo Masamune, widely considered the greatest swordsmith in Japanese history. This katana represented the pinnacle of the swordmaker's art. The Honjo Masamune became a symbol of the Tokugawa shogunate and was passed down through generations as a treasured heirloom. So where is this masterpiece today? That's the mystery. The Honjo Masamune went missing at the end of World War II. According to records, it was last seen in American hands during the Allied occupation of Japan. A Japanese soldier from the Tokugawa family surrendered it to American authorities, and then it vanished. Despite decades of searching, the sword has never been recovered. Its current whereabouts remain completely unknown, making it one of the most sought-after lost artifacts in the world. Sword of Goujian. Let's travel back over 2,000 years to ancient China, where archaeologists made an astonishing discovery in 1965. In a waterlogged tomb, they found the Sword of Goujian, belonging to Goujian, king of Yu, who ruled during the spring and autumn period of Chinese history. What made this discovery so remarkable wasn't just the sword's age, but its condition. Despite being buried for over 2 millennia, the bronze blade was found in near-perfect condition. When archaeologists tested it, they discovered the edge was still incredibly sharp enough to cut through paper. The blade bears intricate inscriptions and decorative patterns that showcase the advanced metallurgical skills of ancient Chinese craftsmen. The Sword of Goujian is now held at the Hubei Provincial Museum in China, where it's considered a national treasure. 7-branch sword. Our next sword takes us to ancient Korea and Japan. The 7-branch sword is a ceremonial blade with a truly unique design. Along its central blade, 6 smaller protrusions branch out, 3 on each side, creating a distinctive appearance unlike any other sword in history. This weapon was given as a diplomatic gift from the Korean kingdom of Baekje to the Yamato court in Japan during the 4th or 5th century. The sword's purpose was clearly diplomatic rather than martial. Its unusual design would make it impractical for combat, but perfect for ceremonial occasions. Today, the 7-branch sword is kept at Isoakami Shrine in Nara, Japan, and is not usually on public display. Sword of St. Peter. Now we encounter a sword with deep religious significance. The Sword of St. Peter. According to Christian tradition, this is the weapon the Apostle Peter used to cut off the ear of the high priest's servant during Jesus' arrest in the Garden of Gethsemane, an event recorded in the Gospels. The sword is currently held in the Poznan Archdiecezonal Museum in Poland, where it's venerated as a holy relic. However, most historians believe it's likely a symbolic medieval creation rather than the actual sword from biblical times. Regardless of its true age, the sword retains enormous religious and historical importance as a tangible connection to one of Christianity's most pivotal moments. Napoleon sword. Finally, we come to a sword belonging to one of history's most famous military leaders, Napoleon Bonaparte. The French emperor who dominated European affairs in the early 19th century personally attended battles with his pistol and sword at his side. Napoleon's sword was a cavalry-style blade made from the finest metals available at the time and lavishly decorated with gold. The emperor gave the sword to his brother as a wedding gift, hoping the victories he'd won with it would bring good luck. The blade was then handed down through generations of the Bonaparte family until it was finally sold. On June 10, 2007, Napoleon's sword was purchased at auction by his descendants, who paid an astounding $6.4 million for it. This makes it one of the most expensive swords ever sold, reflecting both its historical significance and the enduring fascination with Napoleon's legacy. These swords blur the line between history and legend, but that's precisely what makes them so captivating. If you enjoyed this journey through history's most legendary blades, make sure you're subscribed to Swords Explained. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me which sword fascinated you most, and let me know what sword you'd like us to explore next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.